Sahana bhavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om peace, peace, peace unto us all.
Sairam, welcome to the Sri Sathya Sai Center of Arcadia, and a very warm and special welcome to our guest speaker tonight, Dr. Suresh Govind from Malaysia. And I will read his bio, and then Dr. Govind has some beautiful stories he will share with us tonight. Dr. Suresh Govind is a professor and former head of the Department Parasitology, Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaya. He has written several chapters in publication by World Health Organization and has supervised more than 100 elective, diploma, graduate, and postgraduate students, including at the doctorate level. He is the recipient of many honorable awards, including the prestigious Malaysian Toray Science Award. Dr. Suresh Govind served as a Deputy National Youth Coordinator, Vice President and President of the Sathya Sai International Organization of Malaysia. He has been instrumental in many national building programs in the country and has traveled extensively around the world to speak to educators and members of the organization on human values and selfless service. He has authored 7 books, mainly on human values and teachings of Bhagavan. He is currently the chairman of the Board of Trustees for Malaysian Unity Foundation and chair of the Sri Sathya Sai Scriptural Studies Committee for the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization. He has been involved with the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization for more than 30 years. Thank you, Dr. Govind, for joining us all the way from Malaysia. And we will hand it over to you now. Sairam.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sridevi. With the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagavan Baba, I'm extremely honored and humbled today to speak to the center devotees, especially to the center which our respected chair of the International SSIO frequency of visits is there, Dr. Reddy. In a jungle, all of us are lost. So what we do, we try to get out of the jungle. So very important for us as sadhaka is to have good people who knows the way out of the jungle. So that is very few. So if once you know someone who knows how to get out of the jungle, then we must follow and make sure that follow him and let him lead and guide us towards the ocean of Sathya Sai. So thank you, Dr. Reddy, for inviting. Thank you, Dr. Sridevi, for inviting. And it is really an honor to be here. To talk about the subject, I think it's easy, but when you talk about the ocean itself, Bhagavan Baba himself, the miracles itself, the stories itself, that is incredible because you don't know where to start. But sugarcane is very beautiful because you can bite the sugarcane at any one point, it always will be sweet. So I think that's best to start the story from how it all began. I think that's the best part. So I was actually, you won't believe this, and many people may not believe, I'm actually a very shy person. I don't normally come forward. I'm actually sit at the back, and I don't really, I used to remain at the back. I won't really come forward. But some incredible experience changed that, transformed that. So one day in my college, I was invited to go for a talk, listen to a talk, where somebody was coming to my college to give a talk. So I sat right at the back, only for one purpose, to come out of the hall as fast as possible. So I sat at the back, and then this person came to the front. The speaker came to the front, and he was speaking, and I was actually attracted by his charisma, his ability to say the right words, and it inspired me. It was none other than Brother Jega. I followed Brother Jega back to the Sai Center. And actually, I was not really attracted to Swami. I was attracted to the love of the devotees. I could see the dynamism of the devotees, and there was an energy in that center. And so I became very attracted to that energy of the Sai Center, and just participated in the service program and so forth, but not really having that kind of reverential connection with Bhagavan Baba. Until my father, who works in the airline, my late father who worked in the airlines, he said, he gets tickets, airline tickets every year. So he said, do you want to go anywhere? So I said, okay, let me go to Puttaparthi. So he got me a ticket, and I landed in Bangalore. So in Bangalore, I took, for the first time, I took a 6.5 hour bus journey. There's a normal bus journey that's 6.5 hours, and landed in Puttaparthi. This is now back in 1980s. So you see Puttaparthi, Prashanthi Nilayam was all in sand. And when we landed in the night, there was no room or no space. So I stayed in the shed. And that night I stayed in the shed. And next day, Brother Jaga gave me a few books to be blessed by Swami. So he told me to go and see this person by the name Mr. Kudumba Rao. He's now passed away, the late Mr. Kudumba Rao. I went and gave him the books. And then he personally came with me. And I'm not sure why all this is happening, but he came with me and told us Yavadal, and I got the first row. So now I'm sitting in the first row with these books, hope to be blessed when Swami comes. So now I saw Swami coming in a distance. So as he was coming in a distance, I saw hands stretching out to touch his legs and all that. In my mind, I was saying, okay, what should I call him? So people say, no, everybody calls him Swami. So I said, okay, listen, his name is Sai Baba. So why should I call him Sai, or shall I call him Baba, or shall I call him Sai Baba? This is the first encounter, you see. So I decided I'll call him the full name, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. So I was waited there, and Swami came. Slowly, walk. And then he came. You see, you must respect, I didn't have that kind of reverence which I have now. So when he came, I just leapt up, and I was knelt. I didn't sit down, I knelt, and I offered the book. Swami, books from Malaysia, Swami, Brother Jaga gave these books. So he blessed these books. He said, I know. 3 times he said that. And then I touched his feet. Oh, by the way, so my mind was telling Sri Sathya Sai Baba. So I was about to say Sri Sathya. I don't know why, for some reason, I said Swami. So you see, it came very naturally, Swami. And then subsequently, there were 3 other darshan I had, 4 other darshans I had. All the time I got the first row. By number, even by token, I took the token, always number one. So I always got Swami, or he will come and stand next to someone and sign a book, then I will get a chance to take Padanamskar and all that. So that was a very nice experience. Then these 3 ladies, this is the comic part of it. 3 ladies in our Malaysian sisters, who I know faintly, not very well, faintly, but they were also there in the group. So they came to me and said, hey, look like Baba is coming to you. Why don't you ask for interview? So I said, what is interview? So he said, interview is where he will take you inside the room and give you ring and chain. That's what exact words were. Swami will give ring and chain. Oh, really? He does that to everybody? I said, no, whenever those who go into the interview room, he'll ask. Now, what you should do is that he will ask you, how many? You say 4. That means 3 plus 1, 4. He'll ask you from where you are. You say Malaysia. So that's all I need to do? He said, yeah, that's all I need. Okay, fine. So they orientated me and educated me on this. That afternoon, I went to the Vice Chancellor's office, because to also offer him these books, which was another package of books. And then for some reason, the Vice Chancellor said, are you here for the first time? He said, yeah. He quickly called somebody and asked him to give me a guided tour. I had the camera with me, and he took me to the Chancellor's room. I saw the Swami's room. I saw they took me to Sai Gita. Everywhere, it was a guided tour. Everyone, I thought everybody gets this guided tour, and I didn't understand. I didn't even know. It's only after 2-3 years later that I realized, my God, I was given this privilege and this honor. Swami arranged all these things so beautifully well. I didn't know. So, and then finally I came back to the Vice Chancellor's room. He said, "Did you see everything?" He said, "Yeah, thank you so much for giving this guided tour." I said, and thanked him. I came back, and then at the back of the Swami's, those days, Swami stayed near the interview room, not in Purnachandra Hall. He stayed not behind Purnachandra Hall. He stayed near in the present interview room. So he stayed somewhere there. I think it's upstairs. So everyone who goes past there must be very quiet, you know. And those days, Prashanthi Nilayam is all sand. It's not bricks, and it's all full of sand. So you're supposed to be very quiet. There was an Australian guy who came to me and said, "Oh, Sairam, brother, where are you from?" I said, "Malaysia." "Oh, Malaysians always get interviewed." Then I said, "Maybe they do a lot of work." I said like that. So that was a brief conversation. So you can see from the amazing scenario, the conversation with the Vice Chancellor, I told him, I hope this trip will become memorable. Now to the Australian chap, I said, maybe Malaysians will get interviewed. So these are all little small spots, which is, you see, Swami is a script writer. He's writing the script. Later, I realized all these things. At that point, I didn't realize that. Then I saw this guy, Chinese guy. He was wearing a T-shirt, and the T-shirt was "Drink Anchor Beer." The T-shirt, on the T-shirt words here, "Drink Anchor Beer." And he was telling, so I said, "My God, where are you from?" And he said, "He's from Singapore." "Oh, okay. You are here for the first time?" "Yeah." "I want to know what on earth is going on here." He was like on an investigative thing, and he wanted to know this phenomena, and he was of that kind of energy. He said, "I want to know what on earth is going on here." So I said, "Hey, listen, there is 3 Malaysian girls there, and there's me. If Swami comes to you, you say, 'Where are you from?' He said, you say Malaysia or Singapore, wherever you want to say, or Southeast Asia, wherever you want to say, but say we are 5 in a group, 5 in a team." So I whatever they educated me, I educated this individual. So this guy said, "What will Swami do?" He said, "Swami will take you into the interview room. And then what will happen there?" He said, "I'm told that he will give ring and chain." So the exact dialogue which they gave me, I gave it to this Chinese guy. So now this was a Sunday. So the stage is set now. Sunday, the tourists, the bus loads of people, all the local people, students, everything was packed. And until that point, I was getting the first row, if not at least the second. But this time I got the last row. That means I was now leaning against the wall. And I can see the ocean of humanity right in front of me, and Bhagavan bobbing in this ocean of humanity like that. So I saw Swami walking, and he went to this Chinese guy. And Chinese guy was sitting right in the first row. And he went to him and said, "How many of you?" He said, "Swami," the Chinese man said, 5. And he said, "Come." So this Chinese man got up and he waved at me. And I was right at the back, and I also waved back. So then I got up, because now the signal is there to get up. So I got up and said, "Excuse me, Malaysia." Swami is calling Malaysia. So I started to walk. And like Moses, the entire ocean of humanity parted as I walked in between. And I started walking. And Swami saw me walking from he was signing somebody's book. And I saw him lifting his head up. And he saw me, but he didn't say anything, and he continued walking. So I walked. I walked behind Swami, and now I'm putting my leg into on the erased platform, and I'm supposed to go into the interview room. So it is at that point that I thought, what is elevated? Supposing I want to see Swami from an elevated angle. So I'm now almost one step ahead. So I wanted to see from that angle, because I always see like that. So I had that thought to turn around. So when I turned around like that, Swami at that same moment turned around. So now I'm standing at one end of this hall, and he's standing on the other side. The pin drop silence. And then Swami says, "Hey, you, where are you going?" So I said, "Swami, interview." "Not you. Not all get interviews. Sit down," he said. So then I thought for a while, probably Swami didn't. So I tried to explain. "You see, Swami, just now that man, he said 5. So I'm one of them." "Sit down," he told me. Now, by this time, this Chinese man had already gone inside the interview room. That means he's getting the interview. And the 3 ladies when Swami was reprimanding me, when the 3 ladies got up, and quietly sat down. Now you understand why Narada doesn't come down to earth, because there are a lot of people already doing his work. So, so basically the three ladies sat down. And here I was stranded in the middle of this, and Bhagwan was telling me to sit down. So I tried one more time. I took two more steps forward to explain to Swami. Swami, you see, sit down. Sit down, he said. He said it was like, if you have seen Durga, I saw. That day I saw the Durga Rupa, the amazing, incredible Rupa. And then immediately I was escorted by about 5 Sevadals who came to me and escorted me to my seat, where I sat in the place where the Chinese guy was sitting down. I sat there. And I was thinking to myself, what is this now? I was sitting right at the back innocently. I didn't want any of these things. I didn't want interview. I just was quietly coming as this one, just experience this love and go back. So what's happening? I didn't know. It was so confusing. It was completely confusing. And then the bhajan started. And immediately when the bhajan started, this Chinese man came out from the interview room. And his face now was as red as the t-shirt. Something happened inside there. So it was totally different person when he came out. But just 2 days later, I saw him somewhere and I asked him, brother, what happened? Sai Ram, brother. Sai, so a lot of humility and a lot of love. So obviously some transformational energy must have gone inside. Anyway, Swami came out from the interview room and was looking and came to me. He saw me in the first row. He came to me. And I stood there. So I put my head up and I was holding his hands and said, he asked me, when are you going? I said, Swami, this coming Sunday I'm leaving. This coming Wednesday I'm leaving. So I got another 3 more days. You got time. Why you worry? You got time. He was trying to comfort me. And that was really amazing. And after that, I couldn't put my eyes up, because when I put my eyes up, everybody's eyes on me. And somebody was trying to tap me before Baba came. And he told me, so don't worry, Bhagavan is, Swami has a lot of love and all that. The more they said that, it was as if putting oil into the fire. Swaha, like that. The fire was going up more and more. And it was very embarrassing. And even when after that I went to the canteen, I saw people all staring at me and, he's the one who went out. So that day I didn't eat. I went back. It was Ekadashi Shivaratri that night. But it was the most painful process, most humiliating process. It took me 1 or 2 years even to narrate to my family when I came back. I didn't say to anybody that experience that I had. But it was the surgery that was most necessary. And I learned from that lesson in spirituality, the greatest maya is also complacency. The greatest chain that can tie you up is complacency. Complacency means just coming passively to a Sai center and sitting down and hoping that we can get moksha. Is almost imagining that a guy visiting the gym morning, afternoon, evening, 3 times he visits the gym and he hopes the 6-pack muscles develop. It is the same concept. So if I just remained where I was, completely oblivious to everything and complacent, I would be just there. So he did a major surgery in which you pulled me to the front and literally walloped me out of shape and basically took out. So that's why you find that I'm not at all. After that humiliating and embarrassing experience, no other experience can be more humiliating and embarrassing than anything else. So that's why the feeling of daring to do things and wanting to do things all sprout out from there. So as a result of that major surgery, slowly the love, and he's connecting and something happened. So the love for Bhagavan began to grow and began to really grow to a point where it became an obsession actually. When I was doing my master's, when I was doing my PhD, when I was doing my head of department, whatever that I was doing in my material world, my literally 80% of my time will be in the Sai Center. In fact, my father was very worried. What is this? You're doing all the time. You're in the Sai Center. You must do other things. How come you're just... So he always used to tell me, and my relations also will start telling me, what is this guy all the time? Center, Sai, and all that. But it became, I wanted to do things. That's so Swami. I wanted to, it was, I can't explain that that motivation that drove you to this point. So my first interview came, he said, you still have time. After all this work, he called me after 12 years into the room once with me and my wife. He called me inside. 12 years. So after 12 years, after drama, which, by the way, by God's grace, Malaysia was blessed to stage 12 productions in front of Swami. And in all 12, I was graced to write the script and direct the play. So we staged that play 12 times, 12 plays in front of Swami. So each one was a lesson, and each one was an incredible experience, because Bhagavan interacted with us behind stage, front stage, and there was a lot of lessons that we learned. So in one of those, Swami called he called me and my wife into the interview room. Then he took us inside the inner room, and inside the inner room, I really cried. I broke down. So after 12 years of totally, it was, I don't know what happened. The whole thing came out. So I was like, it was a yearning. So I kept on crying, and my eyes was, my head was on his gown. And he said, "Hey, my gown is getting wet." He said that. So my wife said, "Swami, he loves you a lot. You see, emotion is one thing, devotion is quite another. Emotion is one thing, devotion is quite another. So we can always keep photographs and feel love, feel emotion, but devotion is placing Bhagwan as the ideal and leaping into the world and doing what you need to do to make sure what you do is pleases him and pleases humanity, and that is the higher aspect of devotion." So when in these dramas all became a very exciting and interesting place. One day, in one of the dramas which he really enjoyed and he really liked, the 1991, I think 1992 play was to be staged. And then Swami came to the. I was sitting in the veranda with all our other actors and everybody else. And then Swami came, and then Swami was playing and all that. Then he asked me, who do you pray to? Then I said, "Swami, only you." "No, who's your Koladevam? Who's your family deity?" I said, "I pray to Ganesha." Then he materialized a big, huge ring, Lord Shiva's ring. He gave me a meditating Shiva's ring, and I put it in my room. And that meditating Shiva's ring, which was materialized right in front, all of the Sai Kulwan devotees, those who were there, saw that happening. The materialization, they all saw that ring being placed in my finger. And then once Swami left that hall, that day, when he finished, he retired, the devotees all started rushing to the hand. And for the first time in my life, I started to be very fearful, because everybody was rushing and kissing that Shiva's thing. And I was thinking, my God, this is why Sevadals are necessary. Because if Sevadals are not here, I think they would have mobbed Bhagavan. They would have, love of devotees is amazing. And my hand now was stretched like that. And I was inching through the crowd back to my N1 block for my room. Right up to the room, they were kissing the hand, kissing. So it was such an experience that you have absolutely. I just kept on praying to Bhagavan, "Swami, Swami, Swami," like that, and he carried on, because he made everybody see that thing. If it was done quietly or privately, it was okay. We made it very public, and everybody saw that. 1-2 years later, then when 6 months later, when I was coming for Guru Purnima celebration, I don't know how that the Shiva's that thing got chipped. The bottom part of the ring got chipped. So when the ring got broken, a little bit, then when I was on the stage doing that dance or doing a dance choreography or something, Swami came at that time. "Hey, I know you. I gave you a ring last time, isn't it?" He said, "Yes, Swami. Swami, see, Swami, the ring broke. Swami, see, the ring broke." I said like that. So Swami took and looked at the ring and said, "Yeah, broke. But head is there. Shiva's head is there. It should be okay. It's okay." He said like that. So I was mesmerized by his cute expressions. He will, how he looked. It's okay. The bottom is up there. Is all right. It's okay. He said like that. So it went like that. So almost another year passed by. And then Swami called, and then he called into the interview room, and he was very happy. That was the time when I was sitting next, I think at the bottom of Swami's, near Swami's chair, and then everybody was around there. I took Bhagwan's hands and placed it on my head. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Swami, I don't care. I want enlightenment now. I want enlightenment now." I said, it's like, "Hey, enlightenment is not a business transaction for me to give you and for you to take. You have to earn," Baba said. "Yeah, you have to earn," Swami said. So this is very powerful. You have to earn the enlightenment. I thought it's a shortcut. You just disappear and just go, immediately merge, because that's the objective for the entire purpose. So what is the big deal? So I was having that kind of vibration. He said, "You have to earn," which means to say we have to work. In other words, I also understood a very big part. Just appearing in a place, passively participating in something cannot bring us results. It has to be active participation. It has to be accepting responsibilities. It has to be totally improving the system, enhancing the organization, moving in that speed, in that manner. Only then can the benefit be got. Otherwise, we will just be appearing in a hall and it will be just like that. Nothing much will happen. So anyway, that was the experience. So in that interview, in that place, Swami picked up, Swami asked me, give me the ring. And then he blew it and turned it into Rama ring. See, so I got a Rama ring after that. So I was walking around with Sri Rama's ring in my hand. And things was okay. And there was a lot of things that happened in between. And one day, he just before going to Puttaparthi for another play, somebody whispered in my ears, you know, this one devotee, he takes out the ring and puts it in the bathroom. He doesn't wear to work. So Bhagavan one day called him and asked him, since you are not wearing the ring, he blew it and the ring disappeared. So this was told to me 2 days before going to Puttaparthi. Now, in Puttaparthi, Swami called me and my wife into the room once. And inside the room, there was a few other people there. My father and mother also was there. He told me, take out your ring. So now I remembered that story. But I didn't take out my ring, but I remembered that story. So I held that ring, and it was so funny. I said, Swami, please tell me, Swami, about meditation. You know, I tried to change the subject because I didn't want, hey, Rowdy, give me the ring. He said like that. No, Swami, I know you don't like Rama. No, Swami, I love Rama. Rama is I love Rama. No, take it out. Swami, it's not coming out. No, it'll come out. You take it out. So I struggled to take that ring out, and he took it in his hands. And that story in my head was that person's story. So he gave the ring to a few people, and then he said, "What is this, Rama?" You see, he doesn't like Rama, Shiva. He doesn't like all that. No, Swami, I love Rama. I love Shiva. I kept on telling. So it was such a humorous scene there, and he was joking and laughing, and he was throwing it. No, he doesn't like. Then he held it in his hands. And he blew it, and that changed to a diamond ring. So you diamond, so it means diamond. So mine must die. Okay, this was the fun part. This was the loving part. This was the motherly part, and this was the part. But as you get closer and closer, and as you keep on focusing on the mission, there will also be trials and tribulations during this period. So in 1999. When I was doing the Second World Youth Conference drama in the stage, I was doing the stage in the drama. Before I left for India, my father was already hospitalized. So I was leaving. I went there, did Pada Namaskaram. I said, I will come back. I'm very close to my father. I love my father. For me, he's everything. So I held his hands. He held my hands. And they said, take care, I will come back at charge. And like that, I said and left the hospital. While I was doing this dance piece, piecing up a drama, which had, I think, about easily 70, 80 countries, representatives there on the stage in 1999, during the opening ceremony of that dance, I got a message from my wife who said that my father is very serious. You have to come back now. He's very serious, very critical. So when I heard that serious thing, at the same time, Swami's work was on the stage, it was really very stressful, very, very stressful. But I continued working on the play. And the worst thing in life is to work with inspiration. But at the same time, this duty and this feeling of, all those kind of mixed feelings. So, but I kept on focusing on this. And suddenly Swami came out. I went to Swami. Swami, my father is very serious. I know. You be here. I am there. I will look after you. Be here. He said like that. So then I was quite happy. So I continued doing the rehearsals. But in the evening at 7 o'clock after my dinner, I was coming down from the Punjabi canteen. One of the senior youths came to me. And then he said, my father has passed away. So next day I was there, and Swami came out in the veranda, and I went to Swami, and Swami, my father has passed away. I know, he's with me, he said. So Swami, no, you ask your 2 brothers and sister to do the rites. You be here. You who will do the work here? Then I caught his hands and I said, Swami, I'm the eldest, Swami. If I don't go back, people will talk. Swami said, people will always talk. Then he went inside the interview room. He himself came out with lots of bags of vibhuti. He gave me the vibhuti. He told me, go back, smear it on your father's body. Then he materialized vibhuti some more, and he told me, put it in your father's mouth. And then Swami, then 1-2 days after that, you come back. But Bhagwan, this is November. There's no way I will get a ticket. Who will do the work here? He said like that. Again, another time he said like this. So I said, okay, Swami, I will do. Then I left and then I went back home. Within 24 hours, the funeral was over, everything was over. Then I asked my mother, what should I do? Swami is calling me. Then my mother said, if Swami is calling you back, then you go back and do. So I went back. I reached Puttaparthi by 4 o'clock. The last rehearsal was between 4 and 6. So I just came back, finished the last rehearsals, got the lightings done. And each time I was not able to focus because there was a lot of tears going through. I didn't have time to even reconcile with the whole incident. I focused on Swami's whole mission. And at the end of 6 o'clock, Swami, the curtain opened, Swami came out. Then he looked at me. He said, finished? Swami, all finished, Swami, all finished. I said like that. Then Swami said, the ashes, take the ashes, put it into the Chitravadi river. Now you do my work. That's all. You just do my work. Do my work. 3 times he repeated that. And he left. And then after the whole thing was the play became a very big success. Everybody was very happy with the play. But after the play finished and the Aarti done, then only I ran from the Purna Chandra Hall. I went to one corner of somewhere and stood to reconcile with the entire situation because I needed some time for myself. So I did that. So again, Bhagwan's message. Focus on the mission. Whatever happens in our life, whatever, whether private, whether whatever it is, don't forgo the mission because the mission is the doorway to the salvation and the redemption of the soul. So Bhagwan used me as an example, I think so, probably. And probably he knows that I'm traveling all over the place. So this experience was conferred to me. And that is why when we keep on saying, oh, I cannot take up responsibility because I'm busy in my job, because I have a family to take care. Some people come and tell me, where you were in the center for so long, what happened to you? Oh, I got married. Then I always remind them, marriage is not cancer. You know, marriage is a marriage. Cancer is cancer. You are, well, so till you, this one, you should be contributing, whatever it is, you should be giving your time and energy to the organization or to the center, make other people. The point is always be earnest to give time and energy to other people. You will get the time and energy for yourself. So in all my life, throughout my entire period of my involvement with the youth movement and the science movement, I gave 24/7. I was there. It's only now that I'm retired. So I get very annoyed when people come and tell me, oh, Suresh, you are retired, you got time. That's nonsense because right from day one, all the time, at every moment, 24/7, I was there. And I published more than 175 papers, getting all the numerous awards because I know, Swami said, you do my work, your entire Yoga Shema for this life and the next, I will take care. This is what it is. So I gave my entire time, energy, effort to the Swami's movement. Somehow or other in my life, in my career, in my awards, in my professions, in my everything, took care by itself. That is what faith means. Once we have faith, this means that you have to surrender. One of the expressions of faith is to be happy. And Swami's thing was all the time happy. Even when he was on the wheelchair, when he was his face was very happy. Once in the first World Youth Conference, this was very nice. Swami's, I still remember, in first World Youth Conference, the seniors were all talking. So it was a little bit, the youth movement was all of the youth was there. So they came and Brother Jaya came to me and said, Suresh, I'll try and push you. You go and speak and do. So I said, okay. So when the time came, I spoke on the hall. Everybody was laughing and doing all kinds of things. The laughter, a lot of laughter was there. So when I came back and sat at the back of the Baba came out. Swami came out from the Purna Chandra hall. He went straight to the Sevadar. Why so much laughter? Who was talking? He said. So they pointed to me. So Swami came to me and Swami said, you talked just now? I said, yeah. Did you speak? What did you speak? Malaysia activities, all you spoke? I said, Swami, I spoke everything about Malaysia. I said what we are doing and all that. But at that time, I had a very, very bad sore throat. And somehow when I spoke, the throat cleared. But after that, the throat pain came back again. So I told Swami, my throat really is paining. Swami cannot speak. Ayo power. He said like the ayo power, oh, pain. Then he waved his hands. Now I am putting my hand like this for the vibhuti. So he's waving his hands. And then after waving his hands, he said, I also have, I think must be the weather. So I laughed and he just walked away. And these are the most amazing session. Small things, which is really gives you a lot of memory and a lot of happiness and joy when you recall some of these incidences. But the secret of life, Swami taught me, was this. The secret of life was, and I think this is the fulcrum. One day, Swami, after a play, he took a shawl and he threw at me. So I caught the shawl in my hands. He was giving shawl, he saw me, he threw at me. Then I went to him and caught his hand and Swami, some people still have not got shawls, Swami. How many? Yes. I said 18 people, Swami. Then he asked the Sevadal to go to the room and he brought 18 shawls. And these 18 shawls, Swami took and he took all the shawls and put on my hand. this hand. And then Swami I was bending down, and Swami took this shawl and he was giving it to everybody one by one by one. After the fourth shawl, he stopped. He looked at me and said, "Where is your shawl?" So I said, "Swami, my shawl is right at the bottom." He said, my. He beat my hand 4 times. He said it in jest, and I was laughing also at that time. But it was one of the most profound messages of all times, because when I went back to my room, I recalled back that incident. That is the crux of the whole story. Earlier, that shawl wasn't mine. Swami threw it, and now the shawl became mine. It's right there, right at the bottom. This is how we get acquainted. This enchanting world will entice you to believe that everything is real. But Bhagavan is here to tell this enchanting world it's not real. You got to focus and use your discrimination, which basically is why we pray to Ganesha in the first song, to develop this discrimination, to show what is right and what is wrong, so that you be continuously conscious that your I and my must not be there. I and my must not be there. So he beat my hand 4 times that day, and that gave me a strong reminder that in this world we must become detached. In fact, the only attached thing you must have, I always say, is your bathroom. Attached bathroom you can have, but the other things all must become detached. When you have that sense of detachment, all the time in life you will be just happy, and you will just do what work is supposed to be done, and do it to the best of your ability, and make sure that everything becomes happy. Recently, this incident happened in the US, to say that Swami is there, that Puttaparthi was Swami, but now he's not here. But actually, he's here in everybody's life all the time. Even I'm very conscious that he's listening to this conversation. I'm very conscious of that, because at one time in the interview room, he said, "I know you went to London, you spoke. Why you speak so fast? Why you speak slow? I'm in your heart, speak." He told me like that. He asked my wife, "He speaks fast, isn't it?" Then my wife said yes. Then I said, "Okay, Swami, I will try not to do that." Even now, I think I'm slightly speaking fast. But at that point, just in this, my wife suffered COVID. I think April, May, she suffered COVID. And as a result of that COVID, in June, May, she was feeling breathless. So in the first week of June, she said, I'm feeling tired. I think let me go to my auntie's house. That's about 245 kilometers away. And they have servants, and so I rather rest there. And I said, okay, then I will go. Let me go 4 or 5 days time. I told my cousin brother to come. Then I don't know, for some intuitive reason, I said, no, don't go, wait till that day. Go tomorrow. Tomorrow itself you go. Then she said, why you want me to go tomorrow? I don't know. I feel you should go tomorrow. So she went on Monday, and she reached there. And then on Thursday, her auntie was going to the hospital. She was going there for her medical checkup. So my wife just followed her for the checkup. But by Swami's grace, she collapsed in the hospital. At that time, doctors were there, luckily, and she rushed into the ICU. And she was quite in a critical condition, simply because the lungs were badly affected, the heart became affected. So I rushed up there, and I was with her for 3-4 days in the intensive care unit. And then she came out, and she's better. So recently, when the Sri Lankan trip, when they invited me to Sri Lanka, so many people told me not to go. They said, situation is bad, things are unstable. If you keep going there, what will happen? My own mother told me, how can you leave your wife like this? And she's in this situation, she's in this condition. How you can leave her and go like this? She asked me. I told her, because this is a time when there's a good chance I could have been a widower. But Bhagwan gave me another opportunity. I'm obligated. I have to go. I have to do this, because it is his work. It is his mission. I must do this. It is my gratitude. I have to go. So I went and came back, and the Sri Lankan trip was very, very successful. Everything went very well. So what I'm trying to emphasize and re-emphasize, Bhagavan is not a Sathya Sai Baba center. Sathya Sai Baba is not a photograph, an orange robed, framed photo in which we just show arati and flower. It is not an abstract concept in which Bhagavan is now, a thread is coming from there, and we are now bobbing into our life, our married life, our society, our community. And we also have one day where we go to the center, or one day we have the altar just becomes a prop in our house. Initially, it can be like that. But after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, we now must graduate. We must change where we are. That is why the first surgery that the Swami did, to change, completely smash the earlier beliefs that you are just there. You must be, we must feel in our heart that we are here for a purpose. You must feel in your heart that in our heart, we have come for a purpose. And the greatest purpose in life is to all the time feel that Bhagavan is the one that has chosen us. And Swami's mission, until we die, until the last minute, we must be continuously focused on his mission and expand. And as we expand and give life and love to everybody, you find that certain things will happen, but you have the strength and the resilience to go through this and make your life. In WHO on 22nd June released a statement saying that 1 billion people are mentally affected now after the post-COVID. 1 billion, that's reported. So they are unreported, there'll be 2 billion or 2.5 billion, which means every 1 in 4 person is already having a mental issue, this low-grade depression. Yet Swami's mission, the first statement Baba said, what? That I've come here to spread Ananda. So as devotees of Bhagavan Baba, every moment in our life, we must feel happy, joyous. At least we will be lessening the problem. Not only we should be happy, we should be giving happiness to everyone, just as how Swami did till his last days. He was giving happiness, he was giving joy, he was giving peace. That is the role in which we must play, whether we are having a position or without a position. Sathya Sai Baba, Sathya Sai teaching must become our internal, eternal nature, and we must know for sure that is continuously our eternal companion. Wherever we go, whatever that we do, he's always with us, and he's listening, he's hearing, he's educating, he's informing, and we must have that connectivity and that connection all the time. Even at workplaces, even my students, my PhD students know that many of the time when they start with the research proposal, it always ends up with differently, and they always will publish papers and get awards, because when they come, I connect to Swami and say, Swami, they come here, what should I tell? What is the thing that I tell? Swami will give one funny little experiment or some idea which is completely out of the book, and then I tell them this idea, they will write it down, and then they'll go back and they'll try it, and it will strike, and they will publish papers like that. This is how it has been happening, and this is how it is there. So Bhagavan is with us all the time, everywhere, every moment of his life. All the time feel the intensity and feel that joy and love. Even this trip to Sri Lanka, when people told me not to go, I really had a deep meditation, and Swami, I had that feeling, the vibration was very strong. And then as if, well, you can say it's hallucination or whatever it is, but for me, it was very clear. Swami said, this is not my instruction, this is my command, go. How do I know? Because I'm a science man, how do I know whether this is imagination or thought? Very simple, because moment after the experience, if your heart feels confident and there is enthusiasm, that's it. That means it must be real. It cannot be otherwise. So with that feeling only, I went and did that piece of work and came back. So like this, we must continuously feel connected, all the time feel inspired. Every morning, dear devotees, center devotees, if you're here, how many of you get up in the morning and say, Swami, one more day you give me, thank you so much, Bhagavan. How many of you feel that enthusiasm, that love, that passion, that one more day, and then go out into the world and make everybody happy and come back and say, oh, one more day, Baba, you gave me a chance to make everybody happy. Feel this every day. This is an exhilarating energy that keeps all the time enthusiastic, and with this bhava, you will enjoy Swami 24 hours, 24/7, everywhere. Don't allow depression. Swami said, you don't come to Swami and tell your problems. Go to your problems and tell that you have Swami. With that kind of ideal, we'll always live a happy, joyous, and peaceful life. Sai Ram, thank you so much. I hope I have done justice to the time that you have given me. Sai Ram.
Sairam, Doctor, you have, I think, exhilarated each and every one of us. You brought so much humor, and you gave such a wonderful example of, I think, when you do God's work, God will do your work. And you have given such a beautiful example of that without any fear, with no fearlessness and full faith. You even took a recent trip to Sri Lanka when your wife was not well. And that just shows that, and I think Swami, when he told you, when your father had passed away, just do my work. And it wasn't just for that incident. And I think it was meant for the rest of your life. And you are really a living example of just doing his work, and he is just taking care of everything. We cannot thank you enough for this was just such a truly amazing talk. We are very, very grateful. And the other thing I just wanted to mention, you are very correct in telling us spirituality, you cannot be complacent. You have to work for it, you have to earn it, and we have to put in our 100% effort. And I think with that will come our true faith, and of course with Swami's blessings, but never give up. And I think you displayed that so well. So thank you for giving these wonderful stories and examples. Thank you, bro. Dear doctor, thank you so much.
Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? They can.
There was a hand that was raised at some point.
Yes, I think it got lowered.
I know he likes questions. Anyway, one brief thing you can tell, you have something in Vrindavan, you said you have that experience where the Swami came in front of you and something you said that was very touching, where he ignored you, some program you were doing.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes.
Just briefly tell that in 3.5 minutes and then we will come.
Dr. Reddy, 3.5 minutes, I don't know, even Swami can do it. But never mind, let me try. Okay, let me try. You see, in Buddha, you look at the first experience. The first experience, he gave me a ring. And everybody touched and it was such a wonderful experience. He exhilarated. So he put me right at the top of the mountain. One drama, in the UNESCO drama, we were coordinating this drama, bringing so many countries together. More than 100 of countries participated in that UNESCO drama. We wrote, choreographed, and did everything else. And then everybody, after the whole drama was so successful, everybody came and stood in line sat next to me, because they thought Swami is going to come next to me and give me Padanamaskaram and all that. Everybody wanted to take advantage of that. That's when Swami asked somebody, who is that man? So somebody said, Swami, he wrote the play and directed the play. Play. I don't want to see you in the ashram again, Swami said. Ooh, that crushed me, man. That was really, I don't want to see you in the ashram again, Swami said. And that was really, and then that row, Swami never came at all. He just missed it. But before he reprimanded me, he went to my wife's side and gave Padanamaskaram to my wife. So now my wife is running to the room to tell me her joy, and I am running to the room to tell my tragedy. It was such a comical thing. So when we both gathered together, and so he told me, I don't want to see you in the ashram again. So then months, I went back to UK to do my postdoc, and I was running around. I said, Swami, you don't see me, it's okay. You do, but I will come for you. You don't worry. And I went from center to center in the whole of UK. We initiated the Interschool Human Drama Festival in the whole of UK when Swami's name was really slandered at that time. I went to all these places and did this. And when we came to Buddha Purnima, Billy Fong came to me and said, hey, we need a play for Buddha Purnima. So I said, I'll write the play, I'll help direct the play, but I will not come in any way in front, because he told me, I don't want to see you in the ashram again. So therefore, I wrote the play, I directed the play, and what I did, whenever Swami came to the front, I went to the back. Whenever he comes that side, I will go here. So because he told me, I don't want to see you, but I said, I will do the work. That one, you cannot take. I will do that work. But if you don't want to see me, that's okay. So I was standing at the back and doing all this work. Then in Vrindavan, this was in Vrindavan, there was a spot where he never comes there. So I only will sit there, because quietly, I don't want him to see me. So I'll sit there. And of all the days, he suddenly came behind. And he came in front. I said, so I looked at back, Swami, go. I put my head down and I started moving backwards. Normally people will come to the front. I started moving backwards and everybody came to the front. They were all surprised as to what I was trying to do. So Swami, go, Swami, go, Swami, please go. I was praying. He stood there in front of me and he's not moving. I can see his orange robe. So now the biggest moment of my life is I'm tilting my head up and he's right in front. And this is the climax moment. I don't know what is the reaction going to be. My eyes are seeing him. He's seeing me. He's now frozen. Everything stood still. Swami, please. And then suddenly he said, when did you come? He said, I said, Swami, I came already 3 days. What, play? I said, yes, Swami. What is it? It's a comedy play, Swami. What's the name? I told him. How many people acting? He said, good. Play. And then he pinched me lovingly and he passed by. I tell you, my entire body I was in a puddle of sweat in the place where I sat. Puddle of sweat where I sat. Again, lesson. You can put you in the mountain, then he can put you right at the bottom. In both extremes, who are you? When I put you right down and crush you, what will people? Will you leave me and find another new guru? Or will you leave me and find another organization, for heaven's sake? Or you'll go somewhere else? What will you be when you don't get me? At that time is the time to express and devote yourself to the highest ideal. So that's what I did. I crushed. It was really a crushing moment, but I worked hard at it and said that, Swami, whatever it is, you don't look at me, but I will look at you, because I want my river to come to your ocean. That's it at the end. So that experience was that experience gave that ideal that whatever happens in your life, don't lose focus on Bhagavan. Saira. I think it was 3.5.
Excellent. No, excellent. Very good. That's a good conclusion. Thanks.
Yes, that was like the cherry on the cake. You gave the perfect example when Swami really does crush us or crush our ego. Do we let go of him or do we come closer? And you just showed that his work will always go on, and you were determined to do that. Thank you so much, Doctor. It was such a pleasure to listen to this. You have, I think, each one of us feels like, just rejuvenated, and we want to do more and more for our Swami. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Thank you, Dr. Devi, for this opportunity. Thanks, Swami, also for this wonderful opportunity. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.